A special player because he brings so much to the table as far as his ability to read and react, diagnose plays, be the leader in the middle of that defense. I can't say it enough that the Eagles got a first round talent.
Sports Take Monday. Welcome back, everybody. Barrett Brooks, Rob Ellis, D Gunn, JAKIB Media YouTube Network. Smash that like button. Tell a friend. That's for sure. All right, guys, let's keep going. And at 2 o'clock, Ruben Frank from NBC Sports Philadelphia is going to join us. But we talked about Nakobe Dean and the risk, with the pec and the knee, et cetera. But, the opportunity that's there for him to get on the field right away and contribute to the team. This is a guy who was not good, but great.
Yes.
At Georgia, okay? Dominant at Georgia on a defense that was filled with talented players and a defense that's right there in any discussion in terms of the best ever. They were that good. And he was the leader of that group. I heard Jordan Davis today. He was on the WIP morning show, and they call him the general. And he said he is the ultimate leader. He said he's the smartest guy in any room that he walks into. He said he's an engineer, major. Like, this guy has got it, in addition to the football skills. So,
and he's my frat brother too, just so you know.
There's that. I mean, forget it. He's going to be an all-pro. No, but when you look at just from a dominance ability and what this guy brought to the table on the field as the Butkus Award winner in college football, man, this is a big-time player they just got.
Yeah, it is. He's a special player because he brings so much to the table as far as his ability to read and react, diagnose plays, be the leader in the middle of that defense. I can't say it enough that the Eagles got a first round talent that could be, he could be so. It was so hard playing against a guy like a Ray Lewis or a Sam Mills or Ken Harvey or somebody you pass well. You see somebody that you got a line across with him. And you have to account for him.
Yep.
Because he's good enough to go make a play. This defense for the past 10 years has been one that they didn't have a middle linebacker that you had to account for. Because he was so explosive, you have to account for him. So when you look at, the way this defense was constructed before, you didn't have to worry about, all right, we got to get up to that linebacker. We got to get up to that Mike linebacker. We could double team Fletcher. We could double team the defensive line. We could send protection over to Brandon Graham. You could block this defense by making sure that you keep those front four guys from creating havoc. Well, now you have to count for him. It's not like trying to double team to get to a Ray Lewis and he's gone already, going to make a play 3 yards behind the line of scrimmage. And there lies the problem when you have a guy that's special like that. And I really think this kid is special enough to be that type of player. I'm not saying he's going to come out early and not saying he's going to be at the level of Ray Lewis, but the same traits you see in this kid. You see the same traits that you see in Luke Kuechly. Same traits you see in, like I said, Ray Lewis, Sam Mills. And you talk about his size. Sam Mills was about this tall.
That's right. That's right.
He planted his helmet in my chest so hard, I still remember. My stern still feels. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
He was a great player who understood how to play the game, quick, explosive. You can't block him. He gets away from the block. He sheds the blocks. He gets to the play before it develops. That's the type of player we got in the third round.
Derek, does he get on the field right away, do you think? Will he be a starter come week one?
If he is healthy, you can't keep him off the field. And that's not a knock against T.J. Edwards or whoever else they have in the fold. He's just that special of a player. Every time I watched him play, the thing that amazes me most about him for a player of his size is it's like he welcomes contact, but he's too quick for you to get a good shot on him. He has great bend. Because he's so small, he can get up under these big guards and tackles. He hits the gap lightning fast. Sideline to sideline, he's as fast as anybody in the front seven you could ask for. I compare him to the likes of Eric Kendricks, Devin White, Devin Bush. These are all smallish linebackers who have played at such a high level in the National Football League. And when you put him in the middle, Kazir White over here, Hassan Reddick over here.
TJ Edwards, all of a sudden you got a little bit of depth there.
Dude, let me tell you something. That enhances the front seven twofolds compared to what we had to watch and stomach over the last 4 or 5 years. But again, the big factor is if Nakobe Dean is healthy. And again, we won't know until we see it for ourselves. And I can't emphasize enough that this rumor thing really has me perplexed as to who's telling the truth and who isn't. Because so many teams, now everybody knows a player like a Nakobe Dean, you don't pass on him. Okay, a lot of great players slip through the first round. You don't let a Nakobe Dean get through the second round. So why did 31 other teams let this kid slip through 2 rounds? And then the Eagles decided, okay, based on what we know about him medically, we think he's okay. And if the Eagles wanted him that badly, why did they get him in the second round? They could have probably got the center in the third round.
Yeah.
The center was not a priority. It's nice to have that luxury.
You would have got him in the third round, though. You would have got him in the third round.
Okay, but still, you already have guys in place.
Right.
Who played the game that could slide into Kelsey's position.
Yep.
Opeda, Seumalo.
Yep.
Since now Dickerson is your starting left guard, where does that leave Seumalo now? Is Seumalo going to be your starting right guard? I think this kid they drafted, Jurgens, will compete for that starting right guard job. But, you got Seumalo there. So you have people already in-house that could have very easily slid over into that center position to replace a Kelsey if you had to be.
You're right.
So it's this is something we got to watch closely. Not even OTAs or the rookie camp. They don't even do any hitting. Basically, they barely work up a sweat in OTAs and rookie camps nowadays, with this new CBA they have. But when it comes to them live hitting in training camp, preseason, regular season, we got to watch this closely to see where this kid is.
All right, let's I want you to hear this. This is Seth, and we had Seth on Thursday with us, and we were talking about the linebackers position. But I want you to hear specifically Seth on the Eagles' edition of Nakobe Dean when he joined Gunner with draft takes. Here is Seth on Dean coming to the Birds.
Well, the only thing I can think of that's going to be a hindrance to him, is his back end, because the Eagles didn't do much, at the safety position where they need help. They've only got, I think, one safety, under contract right now. And they need a cornerback to replace Steven Nelson on the outside. I think that those situations last year and the fact that you had linebackers that they felt like they couldn't blitz. So anytime they wanted to bring an extra guy, they just went to their 5-man line. But that gives offenses an instant, adjustment because they know what it is. To be able to disguise what you do in your 4-2 fronts with your 4 down and your two linebackers, to be able to bring a Nakobe Dean, to be able to go 5-man and then slide Hassan Reddick back off the ball and bring him as a blitzer. Jonathan Gannon's got to get creative. I didn't see a whole lot of creativity, in what they did last year. They were pretty vanilla. I think that they tried to disguise a lot of things, which got them in trouble coverage-wise from time to time. But when they needed to bring pressure, he was extremely reluctant to bring pressure, had everybody in Philadelphia screaming about it. And there was never really any explanation about why they weren't more aggressive. It's my opinion that they felt like they didn't have the linebackers, when you brought an extra guy, they could win and get home. They didn't have a guy that they could trust. That situation has been resolved not only with Nakobe Dean, not only with Hassan Reddick, but also with Kazir White. And if Davion Taylor can stay healthy, he's got oodles of potential in this pool of linebackers to be high.
All right, so you're going to have also a very angry guy who watched 82 other names called before him.
Right.
Okay, and I'm not even exaggerating. So, and I know sometimes there's this, sort of made up motivation by professional, whatever works for you, by the way. But sometimes which okay, this guy's angry. This guy's legitimately angry. Like
it
I
should
think,
be.
Should be. When you perform the way that he performed, and the thing that cracked me up. So when Howie was explaining the medical part of it with the pec in particular, he kept saying, all right, so he's falling. I'm calling our medical people who did give him an examination, by the way. And I'm saying, am I missing something? We tested him, right? Okay. Is there anything? No. What's happening? And then basically they grabbed him up. But yeah, I mean, this is a dude who I think is going to make teams pay, and he's going to remember, the teams that passed him up. That's why I think they got a steal here, man. If he is even remotely healthy, he is going to be blowing things up.
Rob,
I'm sorry. I had asked Seth on Draft Takes. I said, when we talk about a Nakobe Dean and you talk about his leadership qualities, at Barrett, as you can attest to this, I don't care how good you are. I don't care what position you play. When you come from the college ranks to the pros, you have to know your place initially. We all about all these players. He's a leader. Well, you don't walk into a clubhouse or a locker room as a rookie and become an automatic leader. And I said, Seth, how long do you think it'll take before Nakobe Dean, if he is what we think he is, assumes that leadership role? He said production. He said whether it's a month or a month and a half into the season, if he's out there producing and other players notice it, he said, hey, take a look at Micah Parsons. Look at the numbers Micah Parsons put up at Dallas. He became an instant leader. And you saw how animated Micah Parsons. Well, you know what? I don't care if you've been in the league 1 year or 10 years. Those players down in Dallas saw what Micah Parsons was doing for that defense. Mm-hmm. You can be guaranteed they started listening to Micah Parsons. Yeah. So if Nakobe Dean is productive right away, I guarantee you, I don't care, Fletcher Cox, Javon Hargrave, any of them. If that boy is producing when he gets into that defense and he starts to assert himself as that leader, I guarantee you people are going to fall in line with him.
Yeah, look, I agree. And here's Barrett. I want to swing it back to this for a minute. And there you go. Good morning, Greenacre Kiwi Sydney.
Kiwi Sydney. Hey, we got a guy from Alberta, Canada, watching with us.
We're global, man.
It's unbelievable.
Derek, we are great. Global, man. We go above and beyond. But we appreciate everybody, and tell your friends in Sydney and Australia. Smash that like button too while we're at it. But yeah, I think the other thing is, I mentioned this before we stepped away, the money that they're shelling out to undrafted free agents. For example, Mario Goodrich, defensive back out of Clemson, $217,000 signing bonus just for Mario Goodrich, who a lot of people had maybe in as high as the 4th round, somewhere in that neighborhood. That's a real commitment. Like if he's not only got a really good chance to make the team, he might be getting time if you're getting that kind of coin for a guy who wasn't even drafted.
No question, and especially with the uncertainty of even, like I said, with Zach McPherson, this is going to be a very competitive, not just training camp, but a very competitive rookie camp. You know what I'm saying? They'll have OTAs, but they don't have mandatory OTAs. Mm-hmm. But all this is going to be very competitive from a secondary standpoint because, number one, you don't know who's starting opposite of Big Play Slay. You don't know who's starting opposite of Harris, the safety. So everybody's going to be trying to show somebody up to get a position. This is going to be, one of those things where, hey, you can't get, it's my turn. No, it's my turn. I got to get in there. And then when you add, AJ Brown to the mix and him going out there and showing who he is and what he brings to the table, how good he is. And then you take that and you add on the mere fact that Smith is like, all right, everybody's talking about him. You notice I ain't posting anything or text anything or say, hey, welcome to the fold. That's because I'm going out to show everybody that I'm the number one receiver. This is what you want. This is that competitive nature, that dog mentality that the head coach is trying to breed in that locker room. You know what I'm saying? Even from the defensive line standpoint.
And this is how you can make it real, as opposed to just saying it and guys already have the job.
Look at the defensive line. Yeah. Oh, flex is like this. Oh, so you're going to bring the young buck in. Oh, he's going to dethrone me. Oh, I'm not going to I'm not signing back next year. Okay, I'm about to show you. Hargraves is like, oh, this is the last year of my contract. You think you bring the big fella in? Nah. Linebacker position the same way. All these guys want to play, and there's only a couple spots available. This is where it all comes into fruition as far as this team taking it to the next level. That competitive nature. I witnessed it firsthand in the locker room of the Steelers. We wanted to be great. So we wanted to be great on the team, which then flowed over to the rest of the NFL.
Right.
That's exactly what they need.
Yeah, I think it's a beautiful thing, man. And you got fires lit under dudes, and that's needed. 9 and 8's not good enough. That's the message you're sending. Getting
absolutely
smoked in the first round of the playoffs is not going to cut it, man. That's for sure. But yeah, I mean, these guys have an opportunity to get on the field right away. That's for sure. And I think that is kind of a game changer. So let's pull up one more clip here from Seth here on the leadership piece of this, which I think is very interesting when it comes to, some of the issues that we're talking about here and what Nakobe Dean brings to the table. I told you earlier what Jordan Davis had to say, but here's Seth on that part of it as well.
You know what I like about this kid the most? I mean, I know you watched the national championship game and how he got on his other linebacker mate, about not being in the right place, taking the wrong step and getting in his way. The kid is a natural born leader. And when I look at the Philadelphia Eagles defense, I talked about it in our draft show the other night. I don't think the Eagles have had great leadership on the defensive side of the ball since Malcolm Jenkins and Chris Long left this football team. And I think when you're drafting, you have to incorporate leadership skills into some of the guys that you draft because you need leaders on that side of the ball. BG is a vocal guy. He's going to lead coming off a major injury, but you got to believe that he's going to be back 100%. He's going to be a voice. He's going to be able to lead. Nakobe Dean is going to have to lead by example until, he gets through this rite of passage, if you will, as a young player, and then step into being, a vocal leader, because you can only lead if you're leading by example first. Then can lead vocally. I think he does both. And I think he's a major plus, not only because of, the type of football player he's going to be for this organization, but the potential leadership the potential leadership skills that this young kid possesses.
All right, there is Seth Joyner. Yeah, good stuff all weekend, Derek, with those draft bites for sure.
Thank you, man.
Really, really good. I wanted to throw this one out there too. We haven't really gotten into the Cam Jurgens pick, who appears to be the heir apparent. I know, Derek, you said he could potentially play guard as well, but possibly the heir apparent for Jason Kelce. And while I get people saying, that's a luxury pick, you're looking down the road, you have to do that as a general manager as well, and especially if you're talking about a position as important as center, especially the guy who every year talks about I may step away at some point. This may be it for me. And I just thought it was really cool how they brought him into, he being Jason Kelce, brought him into the whole discussion here. For people who may not know, they were consulting with Kelce, the organization was, about who he likes at the center position. And he went on to say, this is my favorite guy in the draft. And I'm not just saying it. Like, I hear that from a guy who knows his game as well as Jason Kelce knows his game. And again, I think it's a very smart move by the Eagles organization to bring him in. And it tells you a lot about Jason Kelce that he's willing to do that too. But that's an interesting move.
It's interesting because they look to Kelce, they love his leadership. They look to him, to be that spark plug, not just in the offensive line, but for the offense, the team, period. And he understands and he lets them know, he's very forthcoming in telling them, look, I can't play forever. All right, I'll come back another year. I still got that fire in my gut to do it. But he also understands, look, I want to leave a legacy here. I want to leave somebody here that can take my place and keep it going. He still feels the need to help, because he's not going to, he said it himself. He's not going to leave the organization. He will be in Philadelphia. He'll take some type of role in the Eagles organization. You can believe that, whether he's going to be coaching, maybe he goes up under Stoutland, becomes an assistant offensive line coach. So he takes his coaching career and takes off with that, because you can see it, you can tell he's a motivator of men. He'll be a great coach. But the mere fact that he said, look, I love this guy, and then when watching film on him, I see why he loves him. This guy's one of the top centers in the draft, and he wouldn't have been there in fact, I don't think he would have lasted another 5 or 6 picks. That's how good this kid is. So, the mere fact that they were able to pick him up in the second round is definitely something I was like, all right, that's a good pick for him, even though I thought it was one of those picks that it was a luxury.
Well, Derek, athletic traits and similarities. He was an offensive player. He was a tight end, converted. We saw that with Kelce. We saw it with Lane Johnson. He's got unbelievable athleticism and size to go with it, and he plays with an edge. He's a play to the whistle kind of guy. He's got that in him.
We all know this is an organization that love their linemen, offensive and defensive, and they like to load up on offensive linemen. And if they identify one who could be better than something they already have in the fold, You say, well, wait a minute, you already have your surplus of offensive linemen, but the bottom line is the business. You want to be as good as you can be for a longer period of time, not a short duration of time. And so this guy comes in here with an edge. He's a little bit bigger than Kelsey he's like 320
20 pounds. Yeah, he's like 20 pounds bigger.
Yeah, 6'3". And
Same
he's got a nasty disposition. He has the ability to get off the snap quick and get out of space in that zone blocking scheme. He can get to the second level and take out that linebacker as well. And he can get down the field and run interference for a safety or cornerback as well. So he has all the intangibles that you would want for an offensive lineman under Jeff Stoutland. So a lot of people said, well, why did they take a lineman when they could have got this or got that? I have to give them credit. When it comes to line play, we can say what we want to say about how they've missed on a lot of different things. Very rarely do they miss when it comes to offensive and defensive linemen.
Yeah.
So I have to give Howie and that organization credit for being consistent in that regard.
No, look,
they do.
And you're handing him over to a guy who's the best in the sport at coaching up that position in Jeff Stoutland, which also makes you real. It's also a pick, guys, that a GM who's feeling the heat may not make.
Yeah,
this is where
exactly.
This is where the security of Howie really comes in and allows him to do this kind of thing and think toward the future, like the trade they made before the draft even started by giving up that one to the Saints, which gives you 2 for next year. So I think that's also the sort of chemistry here, and the fact that Howie's been there long enough, he knows that he's building something. It's not not that there is an urgency. Don't get me wrong. But he also has to look at it with an eye towards the future too.
Hey, you know what? That also plays to, that shows you how much Jeffrey Lurie trusts Howie's opinion. Number one, he gave Howie a 3-year extension, so Howie has that comfort zone now to try to build this team the way he sees it, or the way him and his conglomerate of decision makers see it. And number two, Jeffrey Lurie does have his hand in the draft, but Jeffrey has always told us he likes to hire people, put them in positions, and let those people do their job. Yep. He has his input, but he has to trust the people that he's paying a lot of money to make these type of decisions. So that just goes to show you the trust of what Jeffrey thinks of how. Hey, Lewis Gwynn, we see Lewis Gwynn checking in from London. I like that, man. Wow. We got guys checking in from Canada, London. All over the place, bro.
Yeah, let's hear. I mean, we've had Australia and Canada and London for all of our folks who want to check in internationally. Feel free to do so, and for all of our friends within our borders too, you can let us know where you're checking in from. Go ahead,
John Dickerson. These players will be like Barrett at White Castle, hungry and a bit sweaty.
Yes. Let's hope. Oh, I love it. All right. So
you know what they're talking about? Carson Strong, man.
The
quarterback.
Yeah,
Carson Strong. I mean, I did Nevada at Kansas State this year.
Okay.
And watching film on him, breaking them down, they made a perfect analogy of him on the stream. He's a little less athletic than Nick Foles, but he's just like Nick Foles, same size, same. I mean, this kid has a cannon of an arm. Mm-hmm. He's not going to run away from too much. He's going to be in the pocket. He's going to be exactly where he's supposed to be at. If it's a 7-step drop, he's going to be exactly at 7 steps. Mm-hmm. But he can deliver the ball. He's got a cannon. Right. Will he compete this year? I doubt so, but he'll beat out eventually. Even the second team guy.
Okay. All right, let's get a timeout. We'll come back. Ruben Frank from NBC Sports Philadelphia is going to join us. We'll throw all this stuff at Rube, all the things we've been discussing from a draft perspective. Looking forward to getting his perspective on all of this when we get back. D Gunn, Barrett Brooks, Rob Ellis. We are Sports Take. Hey, I want to let everybody know about Pro Action Restoration. My good friends over there. If you have a home or a business or experience the pain and inconvenience of, say, water or fire or smoke or mold damage to your property, you know how trying that can be. Pro Action's on call 24/7. Anytime you have an emergency, you can call them. They will be there. I went through it at my parents' house a few years back. Pro Action was there. They cleaned it up quickly. They cleaned the entire place. The crew was professional, and the price was very reasonable. They're licensed. They're bonded. They're fully insured. They've been serving the tri-state area for more than 2 decades. This is not a fly-by-night situation. They've been around a long time, and they've done it at a very high level. Pro Action will work in conjunction, by the way, with your insurance company. That's water, fire, smoke damage, mold remediation, you name it. They can handle it. Give them a call at 610-623 610-623-3760. That's 610-623-3760, or at proactionrestoration.com. That's proactionrestoration.com.